John, the app is ready today. I'll be inviting you to and as well as anybody else who wanted to beta test the apps. We're going to send out invites today for, yes, Todd, you are on the beta testing team?
Phone app? Yeah,
You
I
are.
heard that.
Yeah, so I'll be hopping on test flight here and sending out invites. Google's takes me a little more time to get set up, but we'll get the Apple devices test flight. I'll get you added here. They just dropped it for me. There's a few issues, so I'll make a list and send everybody an email just with some known issues already that we're already addressing. But at least you can get your hands on it and start playing with it.
Yeah.
It is super fast. So we've got all the offline stuff done. One of the main things though that's not done is we can't edit and then go online and have the changes go up back up. That's going to get done next week, they said. So, but anyway, it's ready to play with. At least get your hands on it. And we do have a complete redesign coming though, but we'll talk about that. I'll maybe do a little Loom video and send it out so everybody knows what's happening on the app. Okay, it's 2 o'clock, but I am going to give everybody another minute here. We had about 60 registrations, so we're going to give a minute to let people hop on, and then we'll get underway by 2:02 my time.
I,
But I can field questions if somebody wants to ask a question.
And I just put a little notice in the chat of any questions you guys have. If you want to throw them in the Q&A, that really helps me keep track of them better than the chat as it scrolls through. But yeah, feel free to unmute and ask any questions.
I got a question, Brooks. This is Ben from Horner Networks.
Yeah.
So we're using the desktop iPoint version for everything, scheduling, everything. It seems like where we're at with Smackdab right now is, I think the way you've referred to it is it's kind of layered on top of iPoint right now. So it's more of a CRM and a sales tool, and like when we get a new client, do you envision us starting that client in Smackdab and then
Yeah,
pushing it over to iPoint to do the proposal and sales orders and everything? Is that right?
that's correct. For as of right now, hopping into Smackdab, it's functioning as a CRM, so you can track your client communications, the emails, and the just the records, the pipelining system, putting the values, that kind of thing on there, and then send that to client over to iPoint for the proposal. So later, by the end of this year, we'll have proposals in Smackdab, so we'll take over that chunk from iPoint, and then we'll send over the proposal when it's ready, more like the portal integration does now. So we are 2:02. I'm going to get underway, and we're going to handle this like we did last time. You guys put your questions into the chat in the Zoom chat. Rob is monitoring that, and he will interject when it's applicable. My plan today is to cover customizations. So I want last time we went over just a basic account setup, that kind of stuff. Today I really want to get into, now that you're in here looking at the list views and understanding how customizations work. I've worked with a few of you one-on-one in reviewing the platform, and we are going to be improving the guide and app guides and tours and stuff, because I'm catching already where we're missing stuff that we think is, oh, that you just do this, but you guys, it's not getting caught from your end when you're using it. So we are learning a lot from those of you who are getting in and using it and then sharing your experiences. It's incredibly helpful. So today is customizations. So we're going to look at the list views and the card views and pipeline system. And if we have time, we can maybe preview the app or look at some of the detail customizations and then wrap up like we did before with Q&A. I will try to not speak too fast. I got some feedback last time that I talked too fast. I'm sorry, I get excited. Tell me to slow up if I'm losing you in the chat. Rob can jump in and slow me down. So this is fun for me. It's exciting. After 3 years, we're just thrilled to be here and starting to share with you guys. So I am going to share my screen if I'm not already. Did I already start the share? Nope, there we go. All right, and Smackdab. Get all of the Zoom stuff out of my way. There we go. All right, so customizations. I've got both my computers pulled up here, so I have my notes. So we're going to look at list views. So the first thing I wanted to point out about list views is we have multiple views available to you. So what would you do with multiple views? This is where you can change the layout, the list views, to fit whatever purpose you need, and then save that view so it's easily recalled in the future. One of the things we caught right out of the gate that people were getting confused by is this default view. So we initialize the platform with certain views, and we actually control these from our back office side. So if we add new fields or something, I can go into this default view and manually change it from our end. The problem is when you modify it, you'll notice that it says save as new view up here. And that's what's happening is we realize that people aren't noticing that, and then they're leaving and they come back and what they changed is reset. And the reason is that's our stored system view, and you can't save your changes on that stored, that default view. So I want to show you how to customize the layouts and then make sure we understand how to save those layouts and as your own views. And then you can push this default view down the list and kind of get it out of the way. So customizing the views. There is a lot of stuff here, kind of just as you start messing around with it. So I wanted to cover the grid. So this is the grid, and starting off, you can drag and drop. So right out of the gate, that's one of the first things. You can move stuff around there. You can resize them. You can click on the menu and pin them. So what pinning does is it shoves it all the way to the left side and locks it in place so that when I scroll, because these are scrollable views, if you have lots of data, you can scroll all the way across here. Those pinned views will stay put, and you can resize the pinned views down like that. And you can pin multiple. So I could say I actually want to pin the name as well. So now I've pinned both the name and the contact parent. So you can just keep pinning as much as you want and resizing. So you can really lock this in so you can say, I want to always see my customer and I want to scroll the list on the states. I'm going to unpin that view and move that out of the way. And then when you resize the views, one of the things that you'll catch is sometimes you can't read, especially some of these longer ones like, oh, I don't have any long ones on here. Okay, well, we'll just take time zone. If I take time zone and I shrink it down, we let you shrink it down to where you can't tell what it is. But if you slide over it, if you can't see the name, we'll give you a tool tip with the name of the column. So we don't do it for the ones that you can see because that would be silly. Then you just
Well, I
have
was
tool
tagging
tips.
him in it.
What's that? Nick, I think you're unmuted. If you need me, you can chat us in the chat. And if not, if you'll mute yourself and okay, so tooltips are there. So when you can't see the name, we'll throw a tooltip up there for you. The last thing that's important in here is the wrapping function. And I don't know if I have a note in here. Let's talk about the next thing, columns. So I was just thinking, well, I want to find my notes column and I didn't see it. So I click on columns. And this is the master list of the columns that were out there on the screen. And I'm going to go look for the note. So I just search for note up here, and I want the contact. In this case, I want the last added note. And I can also do the total count of notes, and I'll show you the difference here. So by default, those are actually going to get stuck in the end down here. So I could drag this up the screen and move it up like that. So now it's up closer to the top. And it's no different than dragging it here. Just another way to do it. Now, what you'll catch though is I can't read all of the notes. So you could come along and say, well, we'll just drag it out really wide, but sometimes notes can get long. So instead of that, if you just click up here and choose to wrap the text, now you'll see that it actually refreshed and all of the text will show. So we'll expand the rows for the height of the text that is in them. So that's a common thing if you guys are familiar with Excel or Google Sheets. It's a common feature in there to be able to wrap the text. So it is available in here as well. Lastly, I think, well, there's a couple more and then we'll get going here. So notes, anytime you do a counter like this, you should get this little info button. So it says there's 32 notes for that one. And if I click it, it exposes all of the notes underneath of that counter. So you can show the last of something, or you can show the count and then access the full history of it from there. Tags, you'll see this a lot too, where if you don't have room, we'll just say one more. If I make that a little bigger, you should start to see what those tags were. That is a glitch that we're working on right now. If you're in here and you notice that it jumped all the way back over to the left-hand side when I dragged on that, that is a bug, and we are going to fix that. So there's a tag here. There's a really long tag. So you can see that why it does one more is because it can't fit the width of that column. Whatever that tag is, they're huge tags. So that's the functionality. If there's multiple tags, if we click to edit the tags and we add a couple more in there, we'll show them, and then we'll show a plus more when we can't show any more. So that's the common behavior for multiple entry fields. Last thing for here then is the quick sort. So I'm going to show you the sorting up above here, but when you just want to sort quickly, you just click on the name. Again, this is a pretty common functionality, but what's not common and can get you is that we compound the sorts. So right now I've got the down arrow here. I can go over to job title and actually click on this one. So on most any platform, it would have unchecked the name and just started sorting by job title, but we are actually compounding it. And you can see it right up. What's happening right here is we're compounding the name in ascending, and then we're doing the job title in ascending. So we're going in that order. So I can clear that here, and now we're just on job title. I could put the name back in there, and it's now in the second position after job title. So the sorting compounds on top of each other. And you can just keep clicking to clear it here as well. It's going to go through the up, down, and then away. That covers the bulk of our column functionality. And up above here, a few more things, and we're going to look at the cards. Filters are just what they sound like. And you saw the quick filters there, but this is where you do the more complex filters. You can search for something like phone, and it's going to show me that I can actually search from the contact phone, the parent contact phone, related company phone, any type of relationships that we have. This system lets you expand out sideways on the table. So some CRMs let you do this, kind of. I don't think any have quite the capabilities that we have. And this goes back to if you were at our launch party where I talked about how we built that special database, this is why. So we can go way down a relationship and show related data from multiple relationships downstream and flatten it out into this view and still make it display quickly. So you can show anything in here from about anywhere. So it's the same, the filters and the displays work the same way. So we can look at the related contacts address line and add that in here. So if there was a related contact, it's going to populate over here. So what we're looking at is a related record, and then I can sort on that and do anything with that data. Filters work the same way. You can filter on anything. So incredibly powerful filter engine, but again, you just pick what you want to search. Equals, there's a ton of options in here. Contains equals versus contains just means it has to actually equal that versus just has something like 3 letters of it in the name and then put your value. Then you can do multiple compounds. So we can compound it inside of here. So this is a block that's compounding, and then you add a separate block. So let's remove this one. Sorry. And then we add a new one. This is an interior block, and this is an exterior and or join. So it lets you put this or this and this or this. So they're complex filters, just incredibly powerful. The reason you might want to use this is I want to find everybody who is either salesperson A or salesperson B. That's your first set of blocks, and is in the city of Houston or Dallas. So we could create that compound filtering set. And then at the end of all of this, when you get it how you want it, you click Save as New View. So remember, everything we do under the default view is not going to save. So don't spend an hour and then walk away from it. Just right out of the gate, save as new view, say test view. And now we're working from a view that you can save everything under. So each time I modify this, it's going to come up here and say, do you want to save that change? Now that could be really annoying. Sometimes I don't want to have to click save every single time. We get that. If you'll click the down arrow, there is enable autosave as well as save as a new one. So you can keep making changes and creating new views. But enable autosave just means it's going to save all the time. So if I change it, it never asks me again. It just saves it. So you can also see that from under here, disable autosave, and that's going to restore that previous functionality of asking first. So why wouldn't you always want to autosave? Well, there are times where you want to save a specific view. Like I said, I want salesperson A and B in cities X and Y. Well, if I modify that because I'm here screwing around, I don't want that to be saved because I want to be able to walk away, come back in 2 days, and still have that very same set of filters available. So that's why we don't just autosave by default. We want you to tell us that you want these things autosaved so we don't lose this view that you worked so hard to create. And the views will just keep stacking up here, and then they go into this list down here. So when you create a view, there's a few things in here. I'm just going to click a new view to start from scratch. And I'm going to use the list view, which is what we're working on. So again, this is just the setup screen. There's that autosave toggle that you can turn on right out of the gate. But you can make a view private or public. So by default, they're going to be a private view. And that just means only you can see it. Versus public means everybody who's using Smackdab can see it. So if you're creating, I want to see my sales that are on about to close, have the last note added, or I received an email in the last 3 days. And note that you can do that stuff. We have filters and fields that show you the last email was received 3 days ago. And you could create a filter that says, I want to see all my contacts that I haven't received an email from in more than 5 days, for example. Profile pics, this just lets you, so some people want just text versus having more of the picture stuff. This is saying when you, out here on the surface, do you want to see these initials like that or not? So if I edit that view, I can say none, and it just cleans up and gets rid of the extra color on the screen and keeps it just text. So we try to look for things that we recognize that people have opinions about and add them in. Enable autosave is there. Locking the view just means it won't let me make changes to it. Well, that's not true. It will let me make changes, but it won't let you save them ever. So it's never an option. So it's like one step more of not only will it not autosave, you can't even save it on purpose. You'd have to go in here and unlock it to save it. Again, it's just a safety precaution so you don't screw up these views you worked really hard to create. That's the gist of views. Filters, group by. Group by lets us, let me go back to my demos here. Group by lets us compile and group these records under something that might be similar. So let's do group by contact owner. So here I can see that the sales leader has 803 and this install manager has 5. And then you can expand those records and see what those are. So it lets you group by any type of select field. So again, very powerful. I can group by status. I could group by, well, you can look in here and see, but anything that is a state, for example, I can group by state. Anything that is a select field can be a grouping by. And the last couple, spacing just makes it so you can make it tighter if you like to see more, or you got bad eyes like me and you want really big. That's what spacing is, and then sorting is self-explanatory. That is this view. So I'm going to shift over and talk about pipelines in the board view. But before I do, Rob, do you have anything that's popped up about list views? Does anybody have any questions about this that you want to voice?
One question was just so in essence, every salesperson could have their own view here, or they could share views, or it's really customizable where you can pick and choose what you want.
That is 100% correct.
Great.
Okay, moving on. Oh, one more. Sorry, I had to go over my notes. This little guy right here, this little twirly hides the whole top menu. So if you want to see the maximum real estate screen space, you go in here, go spacing small, get rid of the menu, and now you get a full screen view of your list view. And you can close that menu and boom. So max screen real estate. And okay, now moving on. So we've talked about the list views. I want to go over to the deals screen, and I don't have very many deals. Sorry, I was prepping and I got distracted today and I didn't create enough deals to show a bunch of this, but it's okay. This is still just a normal list view. I'm going to go to my demo mode here. This is the pipeline view. So you've got your stages across here and your pipeline is here. So you, depending on the plan you're on, you can have multiple pipelines and multiple stages, as many stages as you want for depending on our plans. So this pipeline system means that you could have a pre-sales pipeline that you could be working a deal through, and then you could have a post-sale pipeline or a pre-proposal. It's however you want. Or you could have one giant pipeline. But why would you have multiple? Well, I want to work and see my funneling system from intake through all the preliminary work up until the point that the client gets a proposal. And maybe I have a whole nother set of sequences that needs to happen after they get the proposal. And we want to track that in a separate pipeline because we're past the first stage completely. That's why you might have multiple pipelines. It's also important to note that we can attach these boards to anything. So it doesn't have to be a pipeline system. We can also set up a whole nother module and track projects, if you will. Even though we haven't officially built the projects module into Smackdab yet, it's very easy to spool up a projects module all by yourself and use these boards to track stuff through the sequence. Now, how do the cards work? Drag and drop to move them from one to the other. If you want to modify these stages across here, you click right here and say Manage Stages. And it will bring up the pipeline management system. So there's the name, default pipeline. So I could rename that to sales pipeline. The default just means if you have multiple pipelines, this is the one that we're going to install by default when you create a new deal. Deal raw after days. This is a one, it's a notification. Two, it's a reference point of a deal has gone stale. So we can use that number as an automatic trigger to do something in automations. So we could say that, well, if a deal is in needs analysis and is rotten, then do something. Notify, send an email to the client or text message to the client or send Andrew a email, whatever you want to do. And then your probability is just a number. It's for you. So as they progress, it increases your probability. These probability and rot days will also be used in more advanced ways as we bring analytics on board, and we'll be able to do more calculated probabilities based on other fields. So you could say if this field equals this, the status is here, and we've added a proposal and we've done this, then it creates a calculated probability. So this has got a lot more coming in the future here. So you can add stages, you can move stages, you can delete stages. Then they have a stage type. Neutral just means it's in process. Lost means you didn't get it. It gets lost. When you lose a deal, we'll prompt you for a deal memo. Why did you lose it? So that you can start tracking these metrics. And then a win is a win. From there, you can collapse these down. So if you just want to save your screen real estate, just click it to reopen, and you can enlarge and shrink these views as well. So as far as customization, that's mainly the focus, not just how to use this thing. The primary point of this was to talk about the pipeline and the stages and how to modify those stages. Finally, it's the card layout. So these are cards that have data in them, and you click card layout and you can move stuff around. So you might notice that this is green right here on the value and it's bigger than everything else. It's because I set value and I clicked on the little magic wand there and I made it green. I'll make it orange and I made it bold. So we can even make it really big, like 20 point. And there you can see it's being previewed down here. This is a label, so I can show or hide that. So if I do all of that, it says value 8,000. So it's really big.
Can
So
you
you can,
show that one more time? You went a little fast.
sure. In fact, I'm going to reverse what I did. So value. So we want to modify the content in this card. And this is universal. It's not, you're not modifying just one card at a time. You're changing how the cards in this view look. Again, that's where views come in. I can have a view that looks like this. I could create another view that looks completely different. So views are all powerful. But if I want to modify my cards, I say card layout. These are the fields that are available. That was the value field that we've been talking about. And there's this magic wand here. And you see the tooltip says edit field. So within here, I now can change my font weight, my font size. If I don't know what it was, just clear it out and it'll go back to default. You can set your color. So we can make it bright red. And this is the label. So the label is optional. I'm going to delete it for now. I'm going to save this and we're going to look at what changes. So this is now red and it doesn't say value anymore in front of it. So that's modifying that this field right here. Now, if I wanted to get rid of this side by side, see where it's got value, and this is a separator field, it's a comma. So I can make it a pipe character. So this is showing you it's a pipe character with a space on each side. This has tripped some people up. So let me explain that one. I may have to reload to show that one. Or that one's a bug. Looks like I found a bug. Let's try one other character and see if it works. Nope. Okay. I'll write that one up for the team. So the separator character is supposed to show what the value that goes in between the two values. And it's optional. If you don't want it, you can, there's an empty somewhere in here to get rid of it completely. Now, the other way to get rid of it is just to make this bigger. And now I don't have any dual value. Value is going to sit on its own line like this. So that's how you would combine. If I wanted to combine them, I'd minimize it using the little arrow, and you'll see everything kind of repositions. And this comes up here like that. Down below here, quick action buttons can be enabled or disabled. Once enabled, you can actually click them to turn them off. If I click on them, they'll drop down below. So that way, if you don't care about adding activities or attachments from here or winning or losing the deal, you can turn off the buttons you don't want in this view. And you can see down here that those buttons I left are the only ones showing. And if I turn them off, they're all gone. So it's just based on what you want to see in your view. And when I get it how I like it, I'm going to click here and clone the view. And this is now just making a new copy of everything we did, just how it is now. And I did catch that it's not updating us up here. So I'll actually bring that back up to the team because it's a different behavior that we're not prompting you to save the view. So I'm going to bring that up to them as well. But you would go here and just choose to clone the view to save this one as a new view.
We've got a few questions coming in.
Okay.
Can you show real quick how you did the resize of the whole pipeline?
Just hover in between any two columns. See that line up here? And then hold on to it.
For multiple pipelines, I have two pipelines that I add customers, one for new sales, one for service. Can you assign a particular pipeline via a tag or how do you set a contact customer into the pipeline that they belong?
If you want to do it on automation, you can do it via automation. So if you tag a customer a certain way, the automation can move it. Is that kind of what the question is, Rob?
That's kind of what the question, I guess, like, so how does somebody get into this pipeline? Is it based on like a specific field status or how do you get somebody into a pipeline?
Okay, when you create, so a pipeline is a part of the deal module at the moment. The term board view or Kanban view is universal throughout the platform. But when we talk about this pipeline with stages, that system is currently, I use the word currently because it's This is temporary. It's currently only available in the deals module. We are going to take the pipeline system and actually make it a universal component that can be applied to any module, including your custom modules. So as of right now, it is only in the deals. So what that means, to answer your question, is if I just created a brand new deal, and this was the Rob deal,
The
and
best deal.
yep, and then you'll see that the default pipeline was automatically set for it, and it just grabs the first stage of that pipeline. So these two fields were just set automatically. And then Rob will assign you. I'm pretty sure you're in the system. There you are. And then so down here, save and close, and this is going to let you do save and view. So those of you who were on a few weeks ago, we used to default to save and view. We didn't like that, so we default to save and close with save and view as the option. So Rob is now in here, and if I have to refresh here, then I'll have to ping that as a quirk. Because I shouldn't have to. And I broke it. I love that. There they are. Okay. I will have to kick that one up to devs that my custom view broke. We'll let them look at that one. But here's the deal I just added to the default view pipeline system.
Great. Within the pipeline, are there color options for tagging won or lost or in progress jobs?
Say that again.
Color options. So coloring to see, oh, this is in a lost status. It's this color.
Like the whole column. Who asked the question? Unmute.
Russ.
Who?
Russ Moore.
Russ, unmute so we can clarify.
Sorry about that. I was talking about the individual deals. Can they be color coded so that the one you've got there is orange? Let's say that was a critical one. Can we change that particular one without changing the rest of them to red?
Yep, just like that. So it's right
Perfect.
under the card. It's edit color, and you're setting the card color too, just for that very purpose. It's to help you grab attention and highlight something.
Okay. Good job on the customization of that. It looks really good.
Thank you. So since we're on this one, I'll actually show you the new version. So this was version 2. We're actually going to be implementing version 3. So we'll take a timeout and go do something fun. I'll show you guys the next version. And this is what it's going to look like here in a couple more weeks. So we're actually going to take the colors and put them up at the top so you can do multiple colors. So Russ, you're welcome to give me feedback on that. And then ideally let you put in multiple pictures. Just clean everything up a little bit. So this is the new style. Good, bad, thumbs up. Yes, if you like it better. The new, cleaner, simpler look versus the heavier graphics.
That looks great.
All right.
We got a nice and it looks great.
Okay. So we'll keep moving this direction. This is the third version of the UI. I think this is going to be our final version. So get back to where I was, get Zoom out of my way.
So with those multiple pipelines, can you move a deal from one pipeline to another?
You can. You do have to edit it for right now. I would like to in the future add a drag and drop. So where the pipelines would pop up down here and let you drop it into a different one. That's not here. So at the moment, you would just edit the deal pipeline. So I only have one right now, but if you had more, it'd show up right there. So under edit, under my pipeline, I'd get to choose the other one, and that would move it. But yeah, ideally I want to be able to drag and drop it to a new pipeline. It's on my feature list, wish list.
On the pipeline, can you sort the order of the deals within their different stages?
You can. And by the way, since I clicked on it, this is the details view for that same deal. And you can see that this is the stages up above here. So it's that same system. So when I go back to the pipeline, that's jumped over to needs analysis. So let's move these two together. And then we will sort on deal name. Descending. So descending, you'll see that Rob's on top. And if we flipped it around to ascending, then the home theater one will be on top.
Meeting with them this week. AV. Jimmy tried to
Can
talk.
we see the options for sorting again, please?
Uh-huh. So go to sort, and then it's any field that's attached to a deal, and
Gotcha.
including related. So just like the list views work, you can sort on anything. So once you pick your column, so in this case, I chose the name because that's what we can all see here, but we could choose value. So and you just search for something, type value, and it'll pop up, and then you can do ascending or descending.
Got it. Thanks.
Because that one has none, so it's at the top, right? Go back to sort, flip it to descending, save it, and now this one's back on top. And then you can add more. I mean, if you want to sort by a secondary function, you can. And I just noticed that they put the trash can on the top one, so I can't get rid of my new one on the bottom. So we're still finding little things, and that's what we, send that stuff into us, right? So if you see little quirks like that, that's what we're in that final phase of getting these little quirks worked out of it, but we are 99% there right now. Okay, that's pipeline view. We talked about managing so just for pipelines. So to answer, just so we can cover that one, if I wanted to do more pipelines, do have to go back into settings. We are going to make this easier, but for right now, you have to go back to settings, customizations, modules, deals, settings. You got to drill your way down there, and then you can get to the pipelines and create a new pipeline. So this is project phases. All right, when almost done and really done. Save. I got my points. And now if we go back to the deals, and we could choose to edit this one, and the pipeline project phases will show up. And then I could say it's almost done. And now that has moved to the new deal. I'm sorry, the new pipeline. So there, now in this default pipeline, I have one. And if I go down to my other one, which is missing, new bug, missing the new pipeline. We'll get that one fixed.
Todd, do you want to unmute real quick? I'm not quite sure I'm understanding your question.
Yeah. So like right on the under Rob deal where it says install manager Brooke Swift in quotes, that sort of title shows up in a lot of places. Is there a way to turn off like the position so you just see Brooke Swift there and not the position along with it?
It'll be done next week.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah, they're just off by default once I get it done. So the only reason you need that is if I had multiple positions in the company.
Yeah.
Then you need to see that. But as long as I don't, then why do you need to see it? So it's already, and my name should be in front, not the position. So I already have them fixing that. Be done
Well, I
next
like
week.
having the hierarchy laid out with all the positions, but like just if you were just working a deal, that's just
Correct.
not necessary.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm with you on that. So I've already got it in. They've actually they're literally working on that right now.
Sweet.
So, and when you guys if you find a bug, I'll have it fixed in like a day or two. Like as soon as we find stuff, that's all we're doing. We just shoot it over to them. They get it fixed. Sometimes it takes a few iterations, but I'll get it back for a QA. It's pretty fast.
I think last question here on the pipeline is are the pipelines and stages interacting with iPoint at all, or are those solely
No.
in Smackdab?
Those are solely Smackdab. So iPoint has a deals or opportunities module. We looked at it. It was going to be a ton of work on both of our sides, meaning getting it to map up because Smackdab's flexible with the stages and the pipelines and getting that to match somehow with the iPoint deals and pipelines, which is a whole different system, was going to take mappings and it was going to be a nightmare. And since we're going to be building a proposal system in Smackdab, and we think most of you are going to migrate anyway to that once it's ready later this year, that it wasn't worth the many hours it was going to take to get the pipeline deals to align with the Smackdab deals. So the answer is no for now. And probably just no, because it just doesn't make sense to try to make those two work together when you're not going to be using those much coming soon if you used them all. And not
And
very many people used them anyway, is the other part of that. Like it was a very small group of people that may have used the iPoint deals.
I missed one question. Manually or moving a card from stage to stage, can you have automations do that, or does it have to be a
Uh-huh.
manual move?
No, automations can do that.
Great.
Yeah. So automation, and it would be custom event, deal, updated. So if a deal, I don't know what the scenario is, but if the closing date got changed, right? Then we want to action set the deal, update the deal fields, and we're going to change the pipeline stage. There it is. To what? Something, right? Apply that action. Turn it on, and that's running. Pretty simple. This is getting a UI makeover too. We want to make it easier to understand. It can do a ton of stuff and it's a little daunting, honestly, looking at it. So we're going to try and make these all friendlier UI, friendlier, more descriptions, try to help you out with how that all works as well. Because automations are incredibly powerful, but then also easy to get confused on. Okay, the last thing for customizations, and this will go really quick, because the board views, so thinking like the pipeline, those cards, that can be used on anything. So I could take my install grouping here and I can add this as a new view. So we could say this one, let's do a new view, and we're going to do a Kanban view. This is going to be install Kanban. And we're going to change that term just to be board view instead of Kanban because not everybody knows what a Kanban is. And then it's based on one of the select type of fields. So in this case, I have a type, but this could be any field that you guys create. You could create your own custom field that has 10 values in it. And those columns are then based on those values. So unlike the stages, which are like, they have a percentage, they are probability, they have a rot, they have a win-loss. You don't have all those options, but as long as it's a select field of choose A, B, C, or D, then I can sort the columns for your cards on those values. So if we continue on next filtering, this is where we'd say the contact owner. In this case, we did the contact owner was install manager. Now I'm going to get a board view. I thought. Did I not? Or that's another fun one. So there's something up with the boards, apparently, because that's the same kind of thing that happened to me on the last board that we were doing in the deal. So I'm going to have them dig into that on the boards. So we've got a quirk here with these boards. So I will get that fixed in the next day or two. So whatever's up with this. So sorry, of course, it's no matter how many times I check this before we go into the demos, something's going to pop up. So I will get it solved, and I will send an updated video showing that it is solved beginning next week here to everyone. Okay, so that one's covered. That we can do boards as soon as the team fixes whatever is going on there. The app. So I can either do one of two things. I can show you, we've got just a couple minutes left. I can show you just a preview of the app. I can bring it up on my computer screen, or I can show you how to customize the detail views. So how to customize this view. So in the chat, either choose app or detail.
While you guys are writing in the chat, Brooks, could you really quick show the Command K universal search functionality? We had somebody ask about that.
Yeah, great. Oh, so glad somebody asked about that. Okay, so Command K is the same thing. Oh, they haven't added it to here yet. Okay, in the dev system, I have my search glass. So they haven't put it in production yet. So I'm going to show you the dev because I'll get this updated soon. It's the same. So once we add it, you can see how it says Command K up there. It brings up the same menu, but on production that you guys are using, it's Command or Control if you're on Windows, K. And it brings up this universal search engine. So I could search, remember I added Rob earlier, so I could just search Rob, and it's going to show me anything that has the word Rob in it. And you can see how it says contact, activity, and I can just keep typing Marks, and it'll keep whittling it down. So here's an assignment for Rob Marks, and I can jump in there. It also shows you the keyboard shortcuts. So under Command K, these are keyboard shortcuts to do things. So once you know those, LD takes me to leads. So I'm not actually clicking Command K. I can just see that LD is leads, DL for deals, CT for contact. So I can just on my keyboard hit CT, and we're in contacts. DL, I'm in leads or deals. So Command K is pretty cool. We're gonna let you guys add your own keyboard shortcuts in the future. So basically, we'll let you come in here and like click something and add a keyboard shortcut for it. But this lets you quickly access the whole system, and then it lets you search within the system as well. Emails, it actually helps you with settings too. So I can go to connect my email. It shows me settings. So if you're not sure where something's at, do Command K, like customizations. If you're like, where is the customizations? Well, it'll take you into settings. Of course, that one didn't work. Customizations. Yeah, I'm a liar. They haven't got everything apparently, but they have a lot of settings in here. You can peruse them all here and just click on it that jumps you into it.
I didn't see anybody post of if they wanted to app or the deal view, but we did a question about the dashboard about customizing that to show a view. Let's see.
So this is only has one view for now. We are going to be adding in tabbed dashboards. That will come with the analytics engine. So right now, these widgets are all just hand-built things that we've built. Once the analytics engine comes on board, you'll be able to create charts, tables based on anything you want, and then save those widgets to the dashboard. So we're not going to spend a bunch of time adding in more customizations to the dashboard until we have the analytics so you can put what you want on here. What you can do for now is move stuff around. So you can go in here and manage widgets and turn certain things on and off. You can move them around. So when you're in move mode, you'll see that it does say editing dashboard up here, and you can grab stuff and reposition it however you want and resize it. So you can totally move it around, but it is only one. So you're moving the one and only dashboard that you get at this point in time. So you'll get tabs with analytics.
ETA on analytics.
We will release it in pieces. So I would expect to get the first piece out within 2 months. It's just getting started right now. So we'll probably start with reports because the reports are easier because they're based on the same thing that this is, the grid view. So that will probably come first, and then we'll add the widgets where you can build the different widgets and add dashboards and or reports based on widgets, which would follow those of you who may have played with the iPoint analytics. It'll work like that. So you can create a dashboard with the widgets and then have that report emailed out to you or push to Slack. We'll do different options for those reports. And that would also then encompass like what we do on morning coffee and iPoint, where you can go in and create, I want to see, and morning coffee is kind of limited because you only get what we give you, whereas this won't be. You could create a report based on whatever you want, have it mailed out every morning to yourself. So analytics will be very powerful, but with that comes the widgets. And along with that will come the AI agent that can help create widgets for you so you can go in there. And we actually have the AIs here. It's just really basic right now. The team's got a bunch of stuff that I can play with that we're not giving you yet. But there are some, actually, it's probably not in yours. I have some in mine. How many deals? Let's see what it says. They were pushing an updates today on me for AI. it's not being very responsive. So it may be down. They were updating it today, so it's probably not running right now. Oh, it's just slow right now. There you go. So the next phase of that though is to say, build me a chart based on that, and it'll create a chart for you, and you can throw that chart then on a dashboard.
And with the analytics stuff, you'll be able to run it for across multiple users, not just yourself.
As long as you have permission. So if you're yeah, I mean if you're an admin you can, or in the org chart if you are above other people, you can view data up to your position in the org. Um, that's where the org chart, I've mentioned that before when we talked about the org chart. The more if you have like divisions, subdepartments, we'll be able to use those for reporting purposes. So you could run analytics based on the org chart department or subdepartment. All right, nobody commented. So at this point, it's 10 minutes in. Let me see if I can throw the app up on my computer. If I can AirPlay to it real quick. MacBook Pro. Rob, can you see that?
Got it. Yep.
Okay. So this is the app. It is getting a redesign. It'll look like what you saw in the new Kanban. So this is it's heavy on the like the shadows and stuff. So we're dropping all of those heavier shadows and buttons and just going to more of a flat look. But the app is pulls all the data off and stores it locally, so it's incredibly quick. If we do a search here for Rob again. There we go. You don't have a lot of data either. This one does. There we go. And then editing. So at the moment, you have to click in the menu button to edit. That's going to go away. But the system is here. Everything, all your modules should populate, companies, contacts.
11:50 arrival
Should be
time.
functional.
When I present upstairs on the second floor.
I think Randy, yeah, there we go.
I got it.
One thing to note for those of you who are going to test the app, from the dashboard, the plus button doesn't do anything. So as long as you're in like companies and I click plus, it's going to add a company. If you're in the contacts or deals and you click plus, it's going to add that contact. They didn't, they just completely blanked and didn't add the dashboard version, which is supposed to bring up a menu for you to choose what you want to add. So I just told them today, they just gave this to me today and I saw that and went, oh, so we'll get a new version out early next week that adds the add button on the dashboard as well. So the other thing is this works in offline mode. I can go offline right now with this and peruse it. But if you add something in offline mode, it may sync up. It may duplicate data. Please don't work on the app in offline mode. That is almost done. So we'll have a build, we hope, next week that enables proper syncing so you can go offline, edit stuff, go back online and have it sync up to the server without any conflicts or duplicate data. Okay, there was a quick demo of the app, and we are pretty much at the end of our scheduled time. If there's
We got
any
a couple more
questions,
questions if you're good.
yeah, go for it.
Can you add a URL within a deal card?
Yeah.
That's clickable.
If not, then I'll make it clickable. If they didn't already, that's a simple add. But let's look and see.
And Todd, you were asking if to be able to jump into a sales order in iPoint Online. So
Yeah,
you could
so-
absolutely add the
Yeah.
URL and it would open up iPoint Online, but we don't have scripting to get it you directly to a specific sales order.
Okay. That's what I was hoping to get
Yeah.
is an address from a sales order, put it in the deal card so you could pop from the project straight to the sales
Right.
order.
That would be good.
Like,
Let me.
basically-
We can look into we need to do some development within iPoint to be able to do that, but it's a great idea.
Yeah, let me add a field real quick to the deal. So we'll do a iPoint URL, which is going to be a URL field. And call that good, save. And we'll go add that to the deals card. So I can't edit this one because it's do a new one.
I mean, if you could pull that off, as soon as you click that link, you basically just toggle back and forth between the deal card with all the communication, the sales order. It's just a toggle at that point. You just have to put it over time. That'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah, let me sorry, I forgot to actually add it to somewhere we can type something into it. I want to test it real quick. I mean, it might do that already. I'll be able to tell you in just a moment.
I'm noting it down, Todd. We'll see what we can do.
Well, when Smackdab rolled out, the first thing I did was I went to iPoint Online to a sales order, see if I could copy that URL and put it in there.
Okay.
So but that's literally the first
We actually can use URLs to open up FileMaker Pro. That's like how we do it, in our when you're on our manual and you open up a university, like that can open up FileMaker, that opens up your FileMaker Pro to get your credentials before it takes you to the university in the web. So we could
Yep.
do it for both iPoint
The answer
Online
is yes. So once Rob makes that part work, yeah, because see, it's clickable.
Oh man, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, if we had yeah, if we could give you a URL for it, then so Rob, we'd have to add it. We just need to add a script, calling script, right?
Yeah. The credentials will pop up on online.
Oh,
FileMaker
online.
Pro would
Yeah.
actually be a little bit easier because you're already logged in.
Yeah.
In the chat real quick, let me know if you guys would be care about if it's only in Pro or if you'd want it in both Pro and online. More general questions. What add-on features are available? Can we add the phone system? Is it already functioning? What are the phone system integrations?
Phone system currently works with Zoom or our built-in phone system. So Zoom is it's in there now, I believe. You can, if you happen to have Zoom phone, you can use it. So it's under personal communications, phone integrations, Zoom. Just hit connect account. We'll test it out here. Do you want to record your stuff? Why not? Let's record everything. And with that, if I made a phone call, I have no idea what's about to happen. Let's see. Let's call us. No. Oh, I didn't set the. It's connected. Connected. Personal settings. Like there was that should be it.
Andrew, while Brooks is doing all this, I don't know if you want to unmute and if there's any other add-ons you're interested in.
No, I was just curious about the built-in phone system. So I don't see us moving to Zoom, and we're evaluating some options because we have the need to record at this moment. So I was just curious, what capabilities are in the built-in system
I'm
now.
wondering if I'm wondering if this is turned off right now in the back. Like we have our flags in the back end where we turn things on, feature sets. So I'm wondering if it's actually turned off because it's not letting me flip it on as my selected phone system. Let me follow up on that for you, and I'll get an ETA on releasing our phone system as well. I've just got that today and I haven't tested it. They just turned it on for me so I can get, so it's definitely not like in the next day or two with, I've just got it to put my hands on it. So it's got to go through my QA and that usually gets sent back a couple different times. But when it comes out, it's not going to be as robust, I think, as what you need for like your full system right now. So if you're looking at an office system, to answer the question, we're not going to be ready to be a full office system. out of the gate. And I wouldn't want you to hold out for that. We intend to do that by the end of the year, but that's not ready at this moment. Right now, it's just a basic one phone number. I can call out from that phone number, receive phone calls. I can text from that phone number, and we'll record everything. But it's not like, oh, hold on, let me transfer you to somebody else. That functionality is not going to be in there yet.
Are you planning on doing an integration like AirCall or something before you do your internal system, or?
Those are two different projects. So one is
Okay.
one's the API teams. So our API team is Nexus to doing. They just got our, and I think Andrew, I gave you access, didn't I, to the API docs?
I don't know if I've got.
Somebody's asked for them. So
Yeah.
we've got the public API. It's live now. So that team now needs to go work on Zapier for me. Then that team can go and work on other types of integration. So we've got the API team that does those. That's different than the team that's actually building like our in-house phone system stuff.
Gotcha. Thank
But
you.
I can't tell you which comes first, the chicken or because they're two different things they're running parallel.
Yep.
All right, it's 3 o'clock. I've kept everybody unless there's any other pressing question.
Kyle and Randall, I'll connect with you guys directly. Those are kind of specific questions to you guys.
Okay. Once again, really appreciate you all being here. Hopefully this is informative and you're learning something. I will continue to do these. We will record them and share them out. My plan is to have one on Tuesday. Let me ask you, quick poll. So twice a week or once a week? So 2 or 1 in the chat. Thursdays or Thursdays and Tuesdays. I've heard that twice a week is too much. So I'm open to feedback on this, especially for those of you who are showing up. So looks like 1,
Everybody's saying
like
1.
universally. Okay, there you go. I prefer 2. You guys ready to go? Well, Andrew, you know you can call me and I will jump on with you. So maybe we do that. Okay, that's enough. I got it. Good. So we're gonna do Thursday officially. Okay. And then if somebody needs me or Michaela or Rob, we will jump on and maybe do one-on-ones. But let's plan on Thursday again for the next group. And we'll go from there. And I'm going to try and record some stuff for you guys and send out more little videos through the short stuff, like 5 to 10 minutes max through the community as well. So please ask questions in the community or in chats. We're here to help you. And appreciate you all being here again.
Thank you guys.
All right. Bye.